Capricorn rising, I'm going to take you on a deep dive astrologically through the month of September 2024. I'm your Cosmic Girl 101. September sees the beginning of eclipse season. If you're a Capricorn rising, your ruling planet is Saturn. You are a cardinal earth yin rising sign. We also see in September a change of season. Equinox season begins as well. So there's a lot of changeability, flexibility needed, a lot of adapting going on in the month of September. We're all in it. No one gets out of this unscathed or unaffected, if you will. We are all constantly going through changes, but especially in the month of September 2024. You may need a pen and paper to jot down some dates of significance to reference back to, or save this video because there is a lot to digest here. So take a deep breath, have a cuppa, have a bourbon, whatever floats your boat. But there is a lot to process. It is a deep dive. So if deep analytical, astrological information for your rising sign is not your jam, this may not be the tonic for you to sip on, and I totally appreciate that. But if this is your kind of thing, your Cosmic Girl 101 has got you covered in the month of September 2024. On the 1st of September, Pluto's retrograding back into your first house, and it goes direct on October 11. So Pluto dipping his toes back into your first house. Pluto's the furthest planet from ours, and so it takes a long time for Pluto to transit in a particular zodiac sign. So when Pluto dips his toes back into your first house, before he goes direct, or she goes direct on October 11, this is not your first rodeo in identifying what is or isn't working in regards to you being your best self, projecting your best self-image, something about your physical body, your character, your psychology, who you are. Pluto gives you an opportunity to accept what you want to finally let go of, connected to your first house of the self, your image, your empowerment, and get on top of anything that you want finally eliminated so you feel refreshed, you feel your best self when Pluto then goes direct on October 11. On the same day, Uranus then retrogrades back into the sign of Taurus, your fifth house. It goes direct on January 30, 2025. This is a longer retrograde transit that's happening in your house that is connected to joy and pleasure, and it trines your first house. Apologies in advance if you can hear my computer loading or doing whatever it's bloody doing. It's annoying me. I'm sure it's annoying you, but I've got a job to do here. So Pluto slowing down the adrenaline in the fifth house of action, joy, and pleasure. It's a place where you have fun. So Uranus now not being so acute to bring really out of the blue changes connected to your children, romantic partners, investments, your sports, gambling, anything to do with your creative projects that you do entrepreneurial or with other people, or where you do at home in the garage, for example. So Uranus retrograding here gives you an opportunity to readjust, iron out any nuances or conflicts that you've had connected to the fifth house. Then it goes direct January 30, 2025. By that time, things should feel settled and you should be rolling with the punches quite organically when it goes direct on that date. The other continuing transits for the month of September of the slower moving planets are Neptune. Neptune's continuing its retrograde in the month of September in Pisces, your third house, and it goes direct on December 7. Jupiter, currently transiting in Gemini, direct for the whole month of September. This is your sixth house, and this is also Jupiter's detriment sign. So Jupiter really can't produce Jupiterian things organically or as big, bold, and abundant and optimistic as it would like in your sixth house of the daily grind, work, and services to other people and your health. Saturn is also ruling the third house. Your ruling planet retrograde here and goes direct on November 15. So you have two planets in your third house and your ruling planet here in a retrograde. It goes direct on November 15th, but what you may be noticing is it's easier for you to know what works and what doesn't for you, for your body, for your image connected to the third house topics of your environment that you frequent daily. Short distance travel, education, reading and writing projects, uh, teaching, learning, siblings, cousins, people that you consider family that are not blood related, anything to do with technology, technological gadgets, vehicles, how you get around, what vehicle do you use? These are all third house topics, and your ruling planet really is trying to nut out, if you will, what works for you and what doesn't. So an easier transit because the third house actually sextiles your first house. So you should be feeling in boss mode in knowing what you're going to put up with or what you're not connected to the third house topics. What's good for you? You'll know when your ruling planet is slowing down enough to see the forest through the trees, especially with Neptune retrograde here too, before it goes direct December 7. You're certainly identifying what's working and what's not for you on the day-to-day. Now let's talk about the moons. On the 2nd of September, there's a new moon in Virgo, and it's the beginning of eclipse season. Eclipse season brings changes, endings, new beginnings. You know, it's like a reboot, a refresh, and closing out of things that need to be closed down. Something that can be eliminated quite abruptly without our participation at all. This is what eclipses can do and how they can play out for all of us. So on the 2nd of September, the new moon in Virgo in your 9th house looks great for you, opening up and expanding your cerebral or physical horizons, education, learning, teaching, finding new teachers, finding new courses, learning about different cultures, different places, different faces, planning new international trips, long journeys, anything to do with media and publishing. Great day to begin something new that really benefits you because it trines the first house, the 9th house. So fantastic day on the 2nd. Get out there, open your mind. Capricorn rising. On the 17th, we have a partial full moon lunar eclipse, and it's happening in Pisces, that very watery, mutable yin sign. It's all about opening up consciousness, nurturing, compassion, connecting, art, music, just feeling in flow with everything. Lighting up your third house where Neptune's retrograde, the ruling planet of the sign of Pisces is, and your ruling planet Saturn, where it's retrograding to, your third house. What's lighting up here? What's obvious, or what you're graduating from, is something in your local environment, something that's habitual to you. Something's changing, and it could be a fantastic win in as much as you finished a course, you finally learned something, or you finally taught a class. You finally got on top of a car problem. You bought yourself a new computer. A sibling or a cousin has a fantastic announcement, or there could be just an abrupt change. And it could be very emotional and lit on the day of the 17th of September. Now let's talk about the other luminary, the sun. Opening up the month of September, the sun is transiting in the sign of that earthy, yin, mutable Virgo. This is your 9th house. The sun is having very difficult aspects this month. Aspects, astrologically speaking, quite simply are how the planets are relating to one another. The sun, which is very optimistic, very life-giving, all about illumination and being very abundant, quite like a happy advocate to have on your side is the sun. But for some reason this month, the sun is just really difficult, having difficult aspects. And this is what we're dealing with, all of us on planet Earth. No one's going to get out of it. Just depends on where the sun is hitting in particular houses for all of us. So we have that sun in your ninth house of expansion, higher education, all the topics we just discussed. And on the 8th, the sun is opposing your ruling planet in Pisces. So we have some big hitters in looking at the characters of these planets, like who they are, these planets in of themselves. The sun is very strong, it's very optimistic, very life-giving, and Saturn, your ruling planet, it's very deliberate, it's very slow. It will take its time. It has a little bit of a wisdom character about it. They're standing off with one another. The sun is opposed to your ruling planet in Pisces, the 3rd house on the 8th. So what the sun is opposed to is you taking your time and making a decision about the 3rd house topics which we've been discussing: the local environment, short distance travel, education, siblings, cousins, technology, vehicles, lots and lots and lots of stuff going on in the 3rd house that is important to you and your physical body and your character. So you're thinking very deeply, you're being very methodical, you're being very diligent, and the sun is opposed. It's like, come on, let's get going. So the sun is opposed to you taking your time. Anything I can say, Capricorn rising, is you do you. Try not to be bullied by an authority figure or someone that seems to be really pushing your buttons and putting on the heat a little bit too much for you on the 8th of September. On the 12th, the sun squares off with Jupiter. Now, again, Jupiter is a life-giving, abundant planet that's all about optimism as well. So when you've got the sun and Jupiter in a square on the 12th from your 6th house to your 9th house, these are odd, believe me. I think this is a really odd. The sun's really being really quite contentious. Something solar is trying to have more control. So it could be an authority figure, it could be someone very powerful that's connected to education, long distance travel, anything to do with law, legalities, media publishing is against Jupiter. You know, being so optimistic about work or services or co-workers, your career. It's just an odd day on the 12th. Sun and Jupiter, great planets, having a problem with you, the day-to-day, and expansion and growth in education. Just difficult. It could be someone professionally that's just grating on you. On the 20th, we see that Sun now opposing retrograde Neptune in your 3rd house. So the sun is against Neptune not being on board with the decisions, information, communication about what it believes to be visionary and beautiful for its future. So another difficult day to navigate on the 20th. Then on the 22nd, we see the beginning of the spring equinox in the southern hemisphere and the autumn equinox in the northern hemisphere, the day that the sun leaves the sign of Virgo and ingresses into Libra, her fall position, the sun's fall sign, the 10th house, which is your career, your professional life, your public image. It's like your label. I know that sounds very 3D, but it is. It's like, are you married? Are you single? Are you corporate? Are you hippie? What do you do professionally? What services do you provide? How do people know you? That's your 10th house. It's also connected to people in authority, like governments, big institutions, anything to do with, larger than life aspects that are important to us, that seem to have a hold, if you will, over us. That is what you're dealing with in the 10th house. So you have the sun transiting here in its fall sign from the 22nd of September till October 22nd. Now, your ruling planet Saturn is exalted in the sign of Libra. It does very well in that sign, but it's currently retrograde in the third house of the day-to-day grind and short distance travel and the local environment. So we need to keep that in mind when we've got your planet in a retrograde here that is exalted in Libra, where the sun is currently transiting in your professional life, how you are seen on the public stage, and authority figures. So you may be dealing with having more responsibility, doing more heavy lifting professionally, especially in your local environment, especially with siblings, cousins, anything to do with technology, publishing, reading, writing, teaching, learning. These are the subjects that may come up for you when the sun is transiting in that 10th house. You may also run into some big heavy hitters professionally, or people that will dim your shine, if you will. So watch out for contention or competition when the sun is transiting in the sign of Libra, its fall sign, your 10th house, from the 22nd of September till the 22nd of October. On the 30th of September, the sun is conjuncting Mercury, which will be in Libra, your 10th house. So this way the sun and Mercury are just right there with one another. So what does that mean? You could have some important documents to address. There could be a public announcement that you want to make professionally, or someone professionally in your career is making an announcement to you. Something very important is coming across this day on the 30th of September. Apologies again for the sound of my computer. It's driving me mad. I'm sure it's driving you mad. I'm so sorry. Got to do this though. Let's get cracking, Capricorn rising. Now on to our personal planets. We're going to be talking about Mars, Venus, and Mercury. These planets change signs regularly, and they are closer to us, closer to the Earth. So that's why they're personal planets. They are very intimately connected to us. Mars, this planet, what's Mars about? Feel free to leave any comments in the comments section below. Mars, passion, takes the first step, risk-taking, abrupt, conflict-oriented, very much about separating and severing and cutting. This is Mars. Opening up the month of September, Mars is continuing its transit in the sign of Gemini, but only for a few days. This is his 6th house. Work, services to other people, co-workers, your physical health, dealing with ailments, illnesses, anything to do with sickness, anything to do with being an ambassador for people, getting a job done, really getting a team fired up, has been transiting in that 6th house for you. And on the 3rd, only a day before Mars ingresses into another sign, he's stirring things up, squaring off with retrograde Neptune in your 3rd house. Communication could go a skiff. There could be blips in paperwork. There could be trouble with travel. There could be some real problems with your physical body hitting a snag on the 3rd. Mars playing up on the 3rd of September. Then on the 4th, Mars ingresses into the sign of Cancer, its fall zodiac sign, till November 3rd. This is going to be your 7th house, where Mars will be transiting in its fall sign. Mars in Cancer. Why doesn't Mars like being in Cancer? What's the problem with Mars being in Cancer? Cancer is about protecting and loving and taking action about what it's emotionally driven to, what it loves. It's very much about being aware of intuition and trusting its feelings. It really does know how to look after and nurture other people that it loves. Well, Mars will come in here and go, I'm going to stir the pot. I don't operate well in compassionate, nurturing Cancer. It's all about the feels. I've got things to do. I want to take action. I want to have fun. I want to have passion. And I certainly want to eliminate anything that I consider wishy-washy or that just doesn't serve me. So it's a difficult transit when you've got rambunctious, passionate Mars stirring things up in your house of relationships, be them intimate or professional. The seventh house is also the house of endings. It's the house where we get rest and joy after a hard day's work. It's the house of contracts and negotiation. This is the house where we put a ring on it, we shake hands, we sign on the dotted line, we agree to connect of our own free will. So Mars in the 7th, from the 4th of September to November 3rd, can have you feeling like your partner's having a hard time. Contracts aren't really coming together. There's conflict around you trying to find harmony and balance and peace. It's hard for you to pinpoint your feelings and emotions without feeling like you need to throw the baby out with the bathwater and start again on your heart's desire. It's a difficult transit. I must be transparent. When Mars is transiting in Cancer, your house of relationships. On the 30th, Mars is trining your ruling planet, currently retrograding in Pisces, your 3rd house. What's easier on this day is landing a contract, getting the verbal or written go-ahead on a project in your local environment, anything to do with cars, learning, teaching, writing, publishing, and anything to do with siblings and cousins, connecting to contracts, your sense of pleasure, and things now ending that may have been too long in the tooth. Things now start to even out. So a nice day on the 30th of September. Venus, our personal planet of love. Venus is so much more than representing love. Venus is about integration, connecting. It's very social. It likes to get out and have a party. It knows what it loves and values, and it believes in what it is attracted to. Venus is all about attracting what we attract. Opening up the month of September, Venus is transiting in her domicile sign of Libra. Your ruling planet Saturn is exalted in the sign of Libra. So she's transiting in your 10th house, but your ruling planet is retrograding in your 3rd house of the day-to-day. So what does this mean? Well, what you could be doing is feeling like there's a lot of responsibility on the day-to-day or in your local environment. There's lots of action going on in communication, especially talking, especially writing. There's so much going on with your siblings and cousins. There's so much going on when we're talking about vehicles, when we're talking about technological gadgets. There is a lot going on that's connecting your 10th house to your 3rd house. Because your ruling planet being exalted in the sign of Libra, where Venus is currently transiting, is going to be important to you about what you're attracted to, what you love, and how you find unity and harmony. I think you will. I think you'll be enjoying being busy. I think you'll be enjoying delegating, taking more of a leadership role, and you may even find romance in the workplace if you're single or feel like you have attractive supports in your professional life, your career, and authority figures being a little bit more lenient or on your side when Venus is transiting in that 10th house of your professional life and your public image. On the 5th, the moon conjuncts Venus. Fabulous day to circle in your calendar. If you want to ask for a raise, ask for a vacation, ask for a personal favor, or seek out someone that can really benefit you professionally, you need to have some conversations. This is the day to do it with a professional or someone that is an advocate or that you think will be a good advocate for you professionally. The 5th is the day to do it because the moon conjunct Venus is fabulous with things feeling quite organic and flowy. On the 15th, Venus trines Jupiter, the two benefics trining one another. Venus and Jupiter coming together harmoniously. Your 10th house and your 6th house are in flow. Jupiter's in detriment, given, absolutely. Yet we have the benefics harmonizing with your work, your co-workers, your professional life, services, and your health. This looks fantastic. Mark the day on the 15th for things balancing out on the day to day and where you've been putting a lot of effort in, some sort of recognition or patting yourself on the back for a job well done. On the 22nd, we see Venus squaring off with retrograde Pluto in Capricorn, your first house. So, what would Venus in her in her domicile sign of Libra be grumpy about? Squaring off with Pluto in your first house of your body, your image, how people see you, your character, your psychology, your projection that you're putting out there. Well, Venus is opposed to the transformation that you're going through. You may be a little bit more powerful or have a lot more pulling power or getting it more attention than maybe Venus wants to admit or recognize. Pluto's quite strong. Pluto's a very strong planet. So Venus might be opposed to you being powerful. And if you find that people in your professional life or your career, what you do on the public stage, if they're feeling like they've got a bad taste in their mouth about you, catty opinions, I wouldn't worry too much about you not standing in your own power. You do you. Don't shy away on the 22nd of September is my astrological advice. On the same day, once she's stirred shit up and making you feel that you're less than, which you're not, Venus then ingresses into Scorpio, her detriment sign, to October 17. And this is your 11th house of beneficiaries, allies that support you professionally. It's the house of charity. It's the house that is Jupiter's joy. It's the house connected to friendships, societies, groups, and organizations that we connect with in a social manner. Yet Venus in detriment in Scorpio, we could have some strong, powerful feelings connected to the 11th house topics. You may find that there is a sense of over passion, over jealousy, too much attention being drawn to friends, groups, or allies. Tricky transit when Venus is transiting in Scorpio. Very passionate about what she loves. She fixates. She's very, very jealous. It could be a difficult transit in that 11th house because it's about benefactors and advocates that support you in your professional life and friends as well. So your friends or support systems could be going through some tough times themselves, and you may be witnessing this. So difficult transit with Venus, which is all about unity and harmony and love and what we enjoy in life, just really having the shits, quite frankly, in the sign of Scorpio, your 11th house of joy and people that support you. Now on to our personal planet, Mercury. Now, Mercury is very adaptable and flexible. It's very much connected to speed, travel, intellectual pursuits. It loves information. It likes education. Mercury is connected to the markets and finance. Mercury is also connected to anything cerebral, anything that opens up the mind and expands the mind and the brain. Loves it. Mercury loves doing these things. Well, opening up the month, it continues its transit in the sign of Leo, your 8th house of resources, finances, and shared money. So when Mercury is in your 8th house, you can expect wanting to know the details, the data, the analytics, everything connected to shared resources and where you sit financially connected to your wealth and your future investments and assets. Strong transit in your 8th house. On the 9th, Mercury then ingresses into the sign of Virgo, its domicile sign, its exaltation sign. Mercury loves being in detail-oriented perfectionist, very earthy zodiac sign of Virgo. Loves being here. This is the transit to get things done, connected to all things ninth house, because this is where Mercury is going to be transiting for you up until the 26th of the month. So Mercury is in a very strong sign, very strong position. It happens to be in ninth house, which trines your first house. So this is beneficial, connected to your image, how people connect to you. It's also your physical body. It's also your psychology. So you may be really lit intellectually when you have Mercury transiting in that house of expansion, education, travel, culture, religion, philosophy, law, anything to do with media and publishing. Fabulous transit for you. Take your time to identify where you need to use your throat chakra, your voice. Get a message out there. Fabulous transit in your ninth house that benefits your first house. If you're ready to take more of a leadership role in the public and get yourself out there, this is the transit to take some bold steps. On the 18th, Mercury transiting in Virgo, your ninth house, opposes your planet, retrograding in the third house. What you could be dealing with here is being too passive, being too deliberate, taking your time. So you may miss an opportunity or some important communication, or overlook some documents on this day if you're being too cautionary or too slow to act on the 18th. On the 25th, Mercury opposes retrograde Neptune in your third house. So what could be going on this day is something quite similar. Mercury basically is saying we need retrograde Neptune to be very clear about the day-to-day and what it is sinking its teeth into regarding education, short-distance travel, siblings, cousins, teaching, learning, technology, and vehicles. So Mercury is asking retrograde Neptune to take your time but hurry up. So it's a difficult day to navigate on the 25th. Nothing you can't handle. Then on the 26th, Mercury ingresses into Libra, joining Venus in your 10th house of career, public image, and your professional life and authority figures. So Mercury transiting here with Venus, there's a lot of action going on in your 10th house, obviously. And this transit lasts until October 13. So your ruling planet is exalted in the sign of Libra, where now Mercury and Venus are transiting. Lots of action and responsibility and movement connected to your career, changes in your public image, authority figures having a lot more interaction with you. Just expect a massive uptick when Mercury ingresses into Libra. In fact, Venus actually leaves and goes into Scorpio first. So it'll just be Mercury flying solo in your 10th house. So all systems go with communication, travel, movement, expansion, documentation. If there's anything to do with the financial aspect connected to your career, this is the time when Mercury is transiting that 10th house to iron out nuances or have important discussions connected to contracts, regards to your money and what you do professionally. Fantastic transit to step up and say, the juice is worth the squeeze with me. So lots of busyness when Mercury enters your 10th house from the 26th of September until October 13. So there you have it, Capricorn rising. I trust you have a fabulous month of September 2024. Take note of your own personal planets, what houses they're transiting in your where they are in your personal natal chart. So when you're listening to the transits of the month, you'll have an understanding of so the planet's about to go into the 9th house. I have my Uranus in the 9th house, I have my whatever in the 9th house, where another planet will be transiting. So that's always something to keep an eye out on regarding listening to the reports that I produce for you on the monthly regarding your rising sign. If you haven't already and you find value in the content of this video and any work that I do, please consider liking the content on the video, hitting the bell notification so you keep up with the latest postings, and subscribe and share the content to other people that are also interested in astrology. They may find value in astrological information as well. Thank you so much. Have a fabulous month. It's beginning of eclipse season. It's a new season, spring, autumn equinox. So yeah, there's lots of changes going on. We've got this, but feel free if you want to leave any comments in the comment section below. I welcome interaction from my audience. Have a fabulous one, and I'll connect with you soon.